Hey everybody, I'm Dove.
I'm Nicole.
And we're so excited to be with you guys today talking about twin flame ascension because this shit hurts, right?
It's no joke.
It's no joke. And there's so much to talk about. So if you guys are new to our channel, we are consciousness mentors. We are twin flames. We are motivational speakers, energy healers. And what we do is we really get you back into a place of realignment and connection and remembrance with self so that you can understand what it is that you're experiencing, listen to your own truth, listen to your own self, and start to become really walking in this energy of being the powerful creator of your existence. So we're really excited to talk to you guys about this because it's really important. And I also wanted to give a little note if you guys are new and you are excited to be connecting with us as a community, go ahead and hit the subscribe. Stay connected. We have a lot of stuff coming. As well, like this video. If it's helpful, share it, right? We want to really get messages out there, and really as you guys are having an awakening, as we're having an awakening, it's collective, it's contagious, right? And the other thing I want to remind you guys is we have a ton of content on our Facebook page, Twin Flame Revolution, right? And so the Facebook page has a little bit of different feel and different tastes, but Nicole's constantly putting up videos. There's great reminders.
Because I love you.
Yes.
Because I love you.
For all aspects of your life. So if you guys are not all on our Facebook, you better hop on there because there's so much stuff on there, so much content and material, and you can ask us questions, and we will put out more and more things as you need, right? So a little bit of housekeeping. We're so excited. Twin Flame Ascension. Oh shit. There's so much there, right? We are activating each other. We are awakening in our own right. There is, what the hell is it? I guess starting there, like what the hell are we talking about?
So Dove and I like to say it's like an accumulation of consciousness, right? So the more we're able to tap into the all-knowing, right? This divine, universal, like all-knowing, we have to shed all this other stuff, our traumas, our belief systems that aren't aligned with that. And then what happens is we start to become more conscious, right? So our subconscious becomes attached or connects to the all-knowing, right? So your consciousness and your awareness actually kind of protects and feeds the unconscious, right? So then it becomes your everyday life. So ascension, what does that feel like? That shit hurts, man. It's like everything gets affected, right? You have this physical form that's lived a certain way, right? So let's say we're asleep and we're walking around and we think that things are happening to us and we're in pain and like I was in victim mode and we're all these things. All of a sudden, like, we find out that that's not true anymore. And we go into another reality that like we are the creator of our universe. It's all our responsibility. What starts to happen? We start to have mental breakdown. We start to just like twitch. We start to be like, oh my God, like what is happening? We start to feel crazy.
Physical pain.
Like physical pain, right? So like I remember when we moved to Florida, everything began to shift even more for us, right? I got out of New York. I got out of all those electromagnetics. I got more connected. I started to shift even more and more, and I started to see and awaken, and all of a sudden, I wasn't sleeping at night.
Yeah.
I was having dreams about initiations I was having, helping people. I don't know how many times I've had people email me and say, you came to me in my sleep last night and you were healing me.
She's busy.
Like I'm a busy little girl running around, and I feel it when I wake up. I'm tired. My bones hurt. I'm nauseous. I'm dizzy. Sometimes I'm crawling out of my skin, right? Because as we're integrating this and as things are shifting, our human form needs to assimilate to the frequency that we are now housing. So as your consciousness is rising, your frequency is rising. And so anything that does not align with that begins to feel really uncomfortable. You're like, why are people falling out of my life? Why is this friend no longer like feeling good to me? Because we're just shifting. And it's really okay. It's not that anyone's bad or good or anything like that. It's just that the frequencies start to shift. And so we start to attract like frequency. We start to be repelled by things that aren't totally aligned. The food that we're eating starts to change. We start making different choices. And then we notice that if we don't make different choices, that it really affects our physical being even more.
And it's unbearable.
And we become sick and we're exhausted and we don't want to get out of bed. And so there's a lot there with the physical aspect.
Totally, right? And so this concept of ascension, right, which for me is also this remembering. So we talk a lot about learning, about this, about that, but it's like you have it all. It's about remembering. So as Nicole was talking about, imagine coming back to remembering, breaking away the conditioning, breaking away the illusion, it hurts, right? And we have to walk this fine line. Like, we will remind you guys, you are not crazy. How many times I need to just say that to somebody, right? We're talking with somebody, we're talking with a client, we're having a session. I'm like, you are not crazy. Right? And that comes to also understanding what you're going through. There is so much benefit to having somebody that has been through aspects, that understands what's going on, right? And not doing it alone, right? You don't have to fucking do this alone, right? And then having that support and like understanding what you're going through brings you back into this place of peace, brings you back into this place of power. So twin flames come together, we come together, you connect, and all of a sudden, what happens? You might have been on a path where you've been healing in the past, and then all of a sudden, more activation, right? You might have been in a place where you really weren't on that much of a path of spiritual activation, and then boom, explosion. Your gifts are coming through. Yeah. All of a sudden you can hear things, you can see things, you can sense stuff, you're feeling your twin, you're like, what is happening? Because you guys are coming together energetically to remind each other of who you are, and you're coming into this energy, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa. You're feeling yourself, you're having this ascension, you're having this awakening, you're having this remembrance within yourself, and because also of this active connection, right? And so a lot of you have come to us with this sort of, well, we've noticed, right? And Nicole and I have noticed within ourselves as well, so we wanted to share it. How come one of us is in the gutter, the other one's flying high? Right? And Nicole and I spent years working through this. Why was one of us going into a gutter and the other one flying high? And Nicole calls it the seesaw effect. Right?
You know what I'm talking about, the seesaw when you're a child. Like, woo!
Right? Absolutely.
If you go too fast, the other one like flies off and like gets hurt. That happens sometimes with us when one goes really down low in their stuff, in their shadows.
Yeah.
It can really agitate the other person. But you'll always notice that when one of us is going through something, the other one has a footing, has a grounding. Like there's an aspect that we can hold space. And so we've noticed that with Dove and I, when I'm going through something really heavy, she's able to hold space for me and kind of, just do that. And so it's so important that we understand that that's going to happen. I remember when she would go through stuff and I was just like, in my past, I would just look at her and be like, why can't you be happy with me? Like, I was so mad because I was like, and it would happen every time. Like she'd be doing well, and I'm like, what is going on? And then when we started to see, oh, I can be there for you and pull you out way faster and help you, and you can pull yourself that way, like hold on to me. And all of a sudden, now instead of this, it's more like this. And so we can pull each other out. We can correct it easily because we know. And so I just want to say one thing that's really important is like, we're saying all this so that you could start to honor this in yourself. Like start to honor this is happening. It's okay that it's happening. And what happens is the more we go high, there needs to be that time frame of integration. And we never like allow for that. We're just like, oh my God, what's happening? It's like, no, you know what's happening now. So now you can kind of sit with it, and I know it's uncomfortable, but it's like, okay, this is happening, but I know it's going to shift. I'm going to integrate. My body's going to integrate. My mind's going to integrate. And I'm going to find some peace, and it's going to level off because it will. It really does do that.
Yeah, and a couple things came to mind when Nicole was talking. First and foremost is, guys, a little bit of 101. Like, if we want to go to these higher places energetically, if we want to feel these energies of like euphoria and awakening and all this stuff, we need to drop down in our shits, right? We need to go down. It's like I read this wonderful article once, and this man was like, we're kind of under the concept that, we're supposed to go only forward, and that if we ever take any steps or perceived steps backwards, that something is wrong, right? And it's like ascension is actually this continual process of 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, which is not really back, it's in, right? It's down in to the dirt, down in to the junk, because if we don't feel it, right? If we don't go in there, if we don't see what's going on, we can't release it, right? We cannot go into these levels of awakening and enlightenment and ascension without subsequently having this also individual seesaw effect happening within ourselves, which is we go high, we go low, we go high, we go low, because there's information in there, and it's really where we have the growth, right? We really have the growth in the low, and we need to be able to get that low point to go up. So also having some honoring for your own seesaw process and yours in your relationship or in your union, both 5 or 3D, right? And it's like looking at them. And the other thing too is your twin or you is going into those things also to help you dig your own stuff out, because you guys are constantly in an exchange of mirroring. What I have noticed with the twins that we work with and with ourselves is that each set of twins has a certain amount of things that they like came to sort of work on and transmute, right? It might be many, many things, but I always see a couple that are super present. And you know, over time, Nicole and I thought we were so different, right? But we're just a different color of the same thing. Yeah. So we will be going through the same exact thing. We just express it so differently that you might be under the illusion of like, oh, no way that my twin is going through the same thing as me. No way that I am going through that. No way that that's my block. Well, guess what? If you sit long enough and you pay attention and it's like pivotal enough, it's the same stuff. So I say to people, when something is coming up for you or something is coming up for them, work within yourself on it and understand that it's happening for the two of you. So if they're going into the low and you're in your high moment, hold space. Hold space for that process, because they're really doing some deep work for both of you. And when you go low, don't judge yourself. And if they're high, don't say, you know what, that jerk is over there doing good, feeling great, and I'm over here suffering. It's like, you're in the low for a reason and they're in the high for a reason.
Yeah, so twins, we activate each other to the umpteenth degree, right? So we escalate the ascension process very quickly. So it's, again, when we were talking about like integration, you can feel a lot, and the more that you're actually, the more work that you do, the more stuff that you're clearing out of your being, and you're really getting into this connection, you become more sensitive too. And we're already really sensitive, right? All of you are probably empaths, right? They use the word empath. It's just a sensitive being, a sensitive soul. It's like everything you're feeling and seeing, you have access to it. And so we don't fully know how to work with that, because if we feel uncomfortable in any way, we're taught that like we need to fix it, right? If we're not feeling great, like have a drink. And we say this all the time. It's like there's always like some kind of answer. If something doesn't feel right, then it must be wrong. And it's like, no, it's all part of it. It's all part of it to go through that. So again, honoring that you're sensitive. I recently I've been so like really sensitive that I just had to sit with myself and just honor. I was like, Nick, you're just a sensitive being. Like, you're going to have to take more time alone. It's okay. You don't have to go to all these like outings with all these people because it's too much for you. Like, it's okay. You can say no. It's real. So honoring that part of you and just being in that, allowing yourself to be in that it's deep. Yeah. It's deep. What it gives you, it's really, really deep. The other thing I wanted to say to you was before, when Dove was talking about all the things that she was talking about, and I had like so many things I wanted to say, but it's like, so how do I help this process? Like, how can I help the process of ascension? So the only way you can wreck it really, really is if you totally give up, like really, really give up, like go like hide. And even then, as long as you're breathing, it's still gonna be okay, right? Yep. So like the worst thing you do is just totally give up, like altogether. But there's been times in my life where I'm not gonna lie, where I gave up. Like I literally gave up and it was still okay. So even giving up is still okay, right?
If you're here.
But people always ask me, where do I begin? Where do I start? I don't know. Okay, there's so many active steps that you can take that you're just not even thinking about. Read a book on ascension. Read a book on awakening, right? Have mentors, have coaches, meditate, take yoga, go on a retreat. Any direction in seeking this, any direction in seeking like you, getting aligned with you is going to lead you to you.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter where you start. It really doesn't matter. I remember I just started I started going to 12-step group meetings, and then from there, I shifted into other things, and I just didn't stop. I just didn't stop because I was just like, I need to know who I am. I need to know. There was something in me that knew that I had the opportunity to remember, right? Or I would have never sought in the first place. So I knew that I ultimately had access. It seemed really hopeless, really, really hopeless. If you saw my life, it looked really bad and grim at times, and it just baby steps. All those little steps actually accumulate. What did I say from the beginning? It's an accumulation of consciousness.
Yes.
Every breakthrough is huge, and it's huge for the collective because we are all connected by our subconscious. So everything that you are shifting, and when we were talking about the seesaw, we are here, when we're here, we're in love and information, and we're starting to know the truth, and we're remembering the truth, and we're taking the truth and going back into the depths of our being, and we're starting to bring truth to the shadows, and then we start to see other parts where we're like, I don't even know what to do with that, and then we come back out, we get more information, we go back in, we give our being more information, and we're just doing it, and we're doing this massive shift together. We're really doing it together. You're not doing it alone, even if you're home right now alone. We're all together doing this. So yeah.
And when Nicole was talking about sensitivity, guys, I heard some of you. Here's the thing. I want to give a reminder. If you're a twin, you're an advanced old soul, you're very sensitive, right? And you might look at your twin and go, they're not sensitive, they're an asshole, right? So on and so forth. You guys, we did a video, right? We did a video, which I think a lot of you really got what we were saying, and some of you sort of missed it a little bit, right? And we did a video about maybe your twin's not a narcissist. And why do I bring that up? Because we're not talking about the mental condition of being a narcissist or people who have no feeling or whatever. What we're talking about is not labeling those who really aren't certain things just because they're in massive trauma and massive pain, so they appear. I will tell you right now, people that are in active addiction appear to be heavily narcissistic. Yeah. They will walk over your dead body. They're in a lot of pain. They can't feel it. They're very focused on, getting whatever substance they need in their body. They're in a lot of trauma. Okay, so when we brought up that video, that's what we were talking about. So why do I bring this up? If you're a twin and your twin is suffering and in a place of a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse or drug addiction, and they are that sensitive, understand that a lot of the substance abuse and all those things too are because the level of sensitivity for them, just like you, is so overwhelming that there has to be so many active steps to try to block it off because they don't even know what to do with it. Right? Yeah. And that will make it seem like, oh my God, hot mess over there is, and no, we're not against creating physical boundaries if you need to, safety, things like that. We talk about this all the time. But even just from an energetic perspective, compassion, right? Because they are sensitive like you. So if you know you have a twin and you know who they are, whatever you apply for you, you need to understand that you apply for them. Yeah. If you believe you're sensitive and an empath, they are. They're sensitive and an empath. Right? They are also maybe under a lot of pain, really lost, had to do things, especially the masculine energy has a different type of endurance than the feminine energy. Okay? So really, as we get to know ourselves and we understand these sensitivities, we understand these ascensions, we understand this stuff, we also can have compassion. Right? We're telling you guys all the time, whatever compassion needs and unconditional love, it needs to start with you. And then we need to apply that for them as well. Right? And so, because I heard a lot of you going, oh, my twin's a jerk, this, that, they're not together, they've got this issue, we can't, the judgment for ourself has to stop in order for us to move, in order for us to remember, in order for us to raise our frequency and our vibration, and the judgment for them needs to stop so that we're able to actually create the potential for them to remember this about themselves as well.
I really love that you brought up the masculine and the feminine. The feminine's, the whole feminine energy is about emotion, and it's about, being able to withstand that, be able to I would say Dove's better with pain than I am in a lot of ways. And so the intensity of this oftentimes has the masculine on the run. But what happens is when we run, we start to denounce the feminine within us because we're not standing there in it, right? And so also when the feminine is going through the stuff that she's going through, doesn't want to move forward and wants to collapse because the man isn't there or doesn't want to get out of their house and all of these things, what happens is we denounce the masculine in us. We denounce the movement of our being, that we can move through this. And so even when Dove and I fight, sometimes I was noticing that when I was like really attacking her, there was a part of me that was attacking my feminine until I really accepted my feminine energy and honored her. When I started to do that, right? And I know I'm still a woman, but housing and masculine, I identify very much with masculine energy. When I started to accept the feminine within me, first of all, I became way more intuitive and I was able to withstand things, but also I really started to surrender to her. So I surrendered to my feminine, surrendered to her. And likewise, Dove did the same thing with me. And all of a sudden there was like this deep surrender to the other in that way. And so whenever we're pointing fingers, just understand that you're denouncing that aspect of yourself, right? Because we're so much the same. And we're both housing masculine and feminine. We're both balancing it. So there needs to be this deep acceptance of each part of ourselves and each part of the other. Because it's not different. It's all the same. And then all of that's connected to beautiful God and Creator.
Yes.
That, wow. I'm moved, sorry.
Yeah, I think that was so important that came up. Nicole and I have been talking about that recently, and it's like, so guys, whatever's happening, right? Whatever's happening you think is happening outside of you, it's all happening inside of you. And whatever ascension is happening for you and is activated by your twin, like it's also something that needs to be mirrored inside with your own individual unique process, your feminine and your masculine, and their masculine or feminine energy, and how you're integrating those things, how you're accepting those parts of yourself. You know, someone said something to us recently. They said, one of our clients said that the only resentment they've had in their life is towards themselves. And we were thinking about it, and I said, of course. People don't even realize that it's always ourself. It's always about us. You know, that's when there's the expression that I'll probably mess up, but I think about often. It's like, if I want to know how you feel about you, I'll get your opinion about me, right? Because your opinion about me is not about me. It's about yourself, right? And it's like, because we're constantly creating these projections and we're not. And so really when we get into a situation with our twin, this is like amplified by 1,000. So we're like, oh my God, we're throwing all that shit at the wall. Like they are this, they're this, they're this, they're activating this, they're triggering this, they're pissing us off, they're hurting us, they're doing this, they're, right? And the wounds within us, they were there before them too. They're highlighting them. So if we have abandonment issues, if we have pain, I mean, who does not? Who that hasn't been here just one lifetime, right, does not have sort of these primal and pillar, you know, fear of loss, fear of abandonment, fear of power, fear of self, you know, things like that. Like these are sort of pillars and they're there. And so your twin comes around and is like, spotlight, right? Spotlight on your stuff. So a lot of people are like, how do I get to my, closer to my twin when it's their shit that's happening and they're not awakening and they're not, I promise you that you have your own stuff. We all do. Also, your own working on yourself, because you're so connected, it will alleviate for them as well. And as Nicole said, for the collective. So there's so much steps you can take. There's so much we can talk about this. And you know, I know it hurts, right? And it's like when we're like, okay, nobody's going to promise you like it doesn't hurt. There's some quick solution. And you know, sometimes people have not experienced ascension. They've not experienced twins. And they say like, you know, I really want this. This is what I want. And I'm not saying you don't want it, right? But what I am saying is it has challenge. It has pain. But I now have a different relationship to challenge and pain, which is that it brings amazing, beautiful growth, right? And as Nicole said, when we start to realize this, we're going like this instead of like into the, we can look at it, we can understand it, we can understand the symptom of the pain is trying to show us something. If you guys get a cough, you know there's a virus in your body, right? Just like the pain is saying, hey, or you have anxiety, or you feel depressed energy, right? Where you're like not really in your energy. All these things are saying, hey, take a look at something else that's going on inside, right?
Yeah, and I feel a lot of you, and I know at times for Dove and I where we feel really lonely, right? We start to awaken, and not everyone gets it yet. Not everyone gets it yet.
Yeah.
And so we think we have to isolate ourselves, and we go into, I remember I'm like, it's just gonna be like this. And then what I ended up doing was I opened the door to the possibility that I would meet my tribe, that I would meet my soul fam, that I would call that in, and I started to call it in, and little by little, like, I have my group. I have people that are going to support me in different areas. I have really good friends that I can go to and laugh with, that I can dump all of my stuff, that I don't need to hold anything inside this being, right? Because as we're ascending, like, there's nothing that can stay here anymore. There's no secrets that can stay in this being, because, like, we're as sick as our secrets, and all of it's got to come out. And, like, I'm not even at a place where I am willing to leave anything and let anything undone. I'm like, just here it is, like, you know. So so call in your fam.
Yeah.
Call in those that are going to support you. Start to see, like, people that really are there for you, people that don't, like, that show up to birthday parties, people that are going to show up for you when you ask them to be there. Like, hold on to those people. Like, don't let go of those people. Those people are going to stick it out with you. You don't have to do it alone. We're here, right? We're here with our videos. We're here if you want to work with us. Like, we're here. There's other options too. There's so many different ways to get what you need, but get it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Like, go out and get it, whatever that is. Start to ask questions of the universe. I don't know what I need. What do I need? And then all of a sudden, like, somebody will knock on your door, or, you know, email you and be like, hey, it happens to me every day. When I ask a question, I get the answer. So
yeah, I know it feels really, like, I heard a lot of you guys like, oh my God, like, nobody understands what I'm going through, especially with the twin flame journey. That ascension aspect alone is difficult, because it's a relationship that people don't understand. It's a connection that is hard to explain. So now you're already feeling that isolation, right? And then awakening, or being in your gifts, being in your remembrance, when you're in a community or family, oftentimes that are very different. And so you're awakening because you're also this lighthouse, okay? So you're also bringing awakening to others, even without talking, even without expressing it. But yes, it feels like, whoa, I'm on an island by myself, and you're not, right? Because we're here right now telling you that we're with you. You're not doing it by yourself. So we already know that you have two other people, and all those other people that are watching, and you're not doing it by yourself, right? Which is why we talked to you guys before about the community that we're gonna start really soon, because we need to do this together, right? And we need to not feel alone and isolated. And so the thing is, you're not alone, you're not crazy. And I know that there is, right? Where this is like real talk shit. Like, it is gonna be a period of time where it feels weird. Family is not gonna resonate the same way, maybe, or friends, old friends from school are not gonna resonate. It's going to be a little bit odd. So I love Nicole's exercise for you guys. Just call in your soul family. Call in you don't need 100. Call in 1 or 2 people that really get you. It will come, it's going to come. It's amazing. So we love you guys so much. We hope that this was helpful. We have a lot.
Group bye.
A group bye.
She's so tired.
From our Sophia.
Do you want to say hi? She's like, no, I want to sleep.
So she loves to be in the video. She loves you guys.
Yeah, she does.
So a little reminder, if you guys liked this video, please like. If you feel like you want to be connected to us, we're so happy that you found this video and you found us, and we love you dearly. So subscribe and stay connected. And if you guys are not on our Facebook, like, hop on there. So much content. I'm just sitting there waiting for you guys. Also follow us on Instagram if you like Instagram. But definitely hop over to Facebook. We love you guys so much.
Yeah,
we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.